It's time to meet Monique. There's no one quite like she. A ghost hunting drag queen. She'll tell you all you need. Cause drag's the highest form of energy there is. So come on, boys and girls, join her paranormal world. Ghosts and glitter. Join the ghostess with the mostest. Ghosts and glitter. Monique too soon, hopes you don't scare too soon. Ghosts and glitter. Ghosts and glitter. Join the ghostess with the mostest. Ghosts and glitter.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Monique Too Soon, the ghost hunting drag queen, and you're watching or listening to another episode of Ghosts and Glitter, a paranormal podcast with a little bit of drag and a little bit of pop culture. Tonight on Ghosts and Glitter, we have special guest, Rob Gutro. Rob Gutro is a best-selling and award-winning author, paranormal investigator, and medium with inspired ghost tracking of Maryland. Since he was a teen, he could receive messages from ghosts or spirits who have crossed over. As a scientist, he also provides some scientific explanations about how energy is the baseline for the afterlife and the medium that entities use to communicate. In 2005, Rob's late puppy passed and enabled him to communicate with pets. That knowledge had inspired Rob to write his first book in hopes of bringing understanding and comfort to grieving pet parents. His books also explain the difference between a ghost and a spirit and how they communicate with the living. His father helped prove he was at his own wake and funeral. Through a spirit, Rob solved the mystery behind a man's passing. He's written about ghosts he's met on vacation and proved their identities. Rob participates in private paranormal investigations, helps human ghosts cross over, and has provided countless messages from people or pets as ghosts or spirits. He even lived in a haunted house. He provides pet readings for a small fee and gives fundraising lectures for animal rescues to teach people how pet spirits communicate. All right, let's bring Rob Gutro on. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Monique. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
So excited. Like, I have been waiting for this moment since I met you at Paracon in September. I was looking forward to you speaking on the panel more than anybody else. And I feel like I didn't get a lot because there were so many people on that panel that were just loud.
It was a busy panel. Yeah.
Yes. And so many people in the audience had so many questions for you. So I'm hoping that maybe we can get some of those answered tonight. And, but first and foremost, I am beyond excited to get my pet reading with you. I am on the wait list for, I believe, next September. And if people want to get on your wait list, how do they do that?
They can go to my website, robgutro.com or petspirits.com if they can't spell my name. And there's information about how to request a date. And right now, I think I'm booking into April 2025.
Holy, yeah, I have been talking about you a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of those people were from my clientele at the hair salon and whatnot. I am like so attached to my animals that I wish this was part of my ability. Like, I don't see spirit pets at all. But how do the spirits of pets come through to you?
So they come through to me really telepathically. The way that I do readings is I look at a picture of the pet and I get the pet's name and then any questions that a pet parent may have. So it's all done by email because spirits are energy, and as energy, mediums read energy, so we can connect to that kind of energy. And then they give me telepathically either images, or I actually hear words that they can repeat that they've heard while they're alive.
Wow. That is like super cool. There was a lady at the event that you had done a reading for, and she was raving about the reading you did for her pet. And I immediately, like, you know, before I left that Paracon, I'm like, I need your name. I need your information. I'm getting on this wait list. I really think that you like have such a unique gift. I don't think I've met another medium that does this. Have you?
Well, yeah, I know a couple of them that have their pets come through. Actually, in my very first book, I have 3 friends who are mediums, and their dogs have come through to them, and they each have a chapter in the book.
But you're not just a pet medium either. You are a normal medium that does paranormal investigations. We have talked about doing stuff together, which would be really cool to do an event together.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard a story from you that I kind of want you to tell on the air because it was really cool when you told it at Paracon, and I still think about this story because it's just such an amazing well, I don't know if it was amazing for you in the moment, but an amazing use of your mediumship, and it was your story from Tombstone
Oh gosh.
in the theater.
Yes. So I was first drawn to Tombstone back in 1993 when I saw the film with Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer. Something was really eerily familiar to me. So in 1994, I went out there and I had what I now know as a past life experience.
Okay.
Because I went out there and I went out there and I wanted to do it in a fun way. So I dressed up as Wyatt Earp and I had a friend dress up as Doc Holliday. And the minute we walked into the town, somebody came up to us and asked me directions to the courthouse. And I just looked at him and I said, well, you just go down two blocks to the 2 blocks, take a left, and then you go 1 block and you take a right, and it's on your left-hand side. And my friend, this is before internet, before telephone, before cell phone, before anything. And my friend looked at me and he said, what did you just tell that guy? I said, I don't know. For some reason, I guess I knew where it was. And we followed my direction, and sure enough, that's where it was.
Oh, wow.
And I later learned that I actually had lived in Tombstone in the 1880s. And I had a past life regression that tell me that.
Oh, that's super cool. Is this the same place that you were shot and you felt the bullet go through you and you went down?
Yes. So the Birdcage Theater is a theater that was built in 1881 in Tombstone, and that's the town that's known for Wyatt Earp and the OK Corral shootout and so forth. Birdcage Theater had 4 different purposes. It was a saloon, it was a gambling hall, it was a place of live performances, and it was a house of prostitution.
Oh.
And in that Birdcage Theater, there were 26 murders within the course of the 8 years it was open. And you can still see 140 bullet holes in the Birdcage Theater. So when I went in there on a ghost tour in 2019 with a friend of mine who didn't ever believe in paranormal experiences, didn't have one. Well, he left believing in them because he saw 2 ghosts, and I ran into 11.
Oh, wow.
So I wrote about them.
Yeah, that's a really cool story. I don't know like how that felt in the moment. I'm sure that was like terrifying or painful because I'm sure you took on that pain.
Yeah. So one thing that being a medium, being sensitive, they share their pain of death with me, and pets actually do the same thing. So I've been able to figure out how a pet died, for instance. But I went into the Birdcage Theater and went into the back where the theater area is, and suddenly I felt a bullet go through my throat, and I couldn't speak. And I actually tasted the copper taste of blood in my mouth. And my friend came over to me and he said, "Are you okay?" Because I fell against the wall and I couldn't talk and for a couple minutes. And I said, "Ghost." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And then I explained what happened. There was a gambler who was cheating at cards. He got up to run away and he was shot in the throat and he died right there. And that was verified by the people that worked there.
That's so cool. I love it when they can verify something like that. Like we all get our feelings and we all, do our thing. And then once you get that verification, whether it's from like a story from the owners or a piece of equipment, it's like one of the coolest feelings in the world. Cause then, you're like, I'm not just talking to myself in my head. There's something going on for real,
True.
I love that.
The 11 ghosts that I actually met were all confirmed by the people that work there.
Wow.
And I sketched out in my book. I make sketches of ghosts that I see in my mind, and they're confirmed usually by the people that like on paranormal investigations. There are some examples in various books like Case Files of Inspired Ghost Tracking, where I sketched out the picture of this guy who turned out to be a steel worker in Baltimore, and then the manager of the group sent me an infrared image that the tech team had taken the week before, and it looked exactly like him. And both pictures are in the book. You can compare them.
Oh wow, that's super cool. I love confirmation, especially when they can find a picture to even confirm it further to what you're sketching. That is like really really cool. So you must be some sort of artist too if you can sketch.
Well, so when I was a kid, I used to read comic books. I started reading comic books. I still actually read them because I
So
love
do I.
superheroes. I always wanted to be a superhero when I grow up. So I drew them, and that talent came in handy as a paranormal investigator.
That's super cool. What kind of comics were you into?
Oh, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The
Okay, so
Flash.
DC.
Yeah,
I
DC.
was like I was a little Marvel nerd. So I grew up with like X-Men Avengers and just a couple of weeks ago I was digging through a closet and you remember how they used to do like the trading cards that you could
Mhm.
like collect and you would put them in the little plastic because we didn't have electronics back then. So we were like, "Oh, playing cards. Let's organize them in our cute little binders with the plastic wrappers." And you would open all the packages hoping you got the cards you were missing and then a couple of months ago, I opened up this container I found in the closet, and I had found a whole box unopened of old X-Men cards. And I
Oh
was
my
like, "This
gosh.
is something so cool." And I looked at first, I looked to see if they had any value, which they have barely any value. So I was like, I got to do this with my son because this is something that he's never going to do in his lifetime because they don't really make that stuff anymore, you know? But that was something that to this day, like when I was opening those cards, I was like, this is the coolest feeling in the world. Like, why doesn't this exist anymore?
I know everything's online now.
It is. And comic books
Sadly.
were so fun when I was a kid, you know? Like, I used to rush to the store to buy a comic book for the weekend or, you know, those kind of things. And now everyone's so attached to YouTube and phones. And I mean, there are great things on YouTube, but there's a lot more horrible, stupid shit on there too. You know? So have I know you just recently moved to New England, right? You weren't from New England.
I was originally from Massachusetts, and then I moved
Oh,
away,
okay.
lived in Maryland for gosh, 25 years, and then now I live in Maine,
That's super cool. Do you live anywhere near the coast?
about 20 miles from it.
Oh,
Um,
not too bad.
yeah, so I moved up here because I'm retiring from my job as a meteorologist.
What? Wait, what? That's not in your thing on here, is it? I don't remember reading that you were a
It
meteorologist.
just says scientist. Yeah, I'm a meteorologist. That's what I do in my career job.
Stop it. I wish I had known that. That's super cool. So, have you been was that like your job out of school? Like have you been doing that for a long time?
I've been doing that for 25 years. Yeah.
Are you actually like on like the news?
No, I have a face for radio.
Okay.
So
No, no, you don't.
yeah, um, I work behind the scenes actually. So yeah.
That's super cool though. You know, a meteorologist, that's like such an interesting job. Not a lot of people, I don't think I've ever met a meteorologist. Oh, actually, I'm lying. I met Al Caprillion, but I feel like he's that meteorologist that's kind of like sent to every school up here in New England as like a field trip sort of thing. He's
So being a meteorologist, it actually has helped me a lot with paranormal investigations because as a scientist, I have to explain everything in terms of energy. And I always tell people that because the law of conservation of energy says energy can't be destroyed, it can only be transformed. It has to go somewhere.
right.
And and that leads into my definition of what a ghost is versus what a spirit is.
So what is the difference?
Well, the difference is do you know a realtor by the way? Do you know any realtors?
My husband.
Okay.
Are
Well,
you
he will
picking up
tell
on
you
my
that it's
energy right now?
he will tell you that it's about location, location, location.
Oh, oh, oh. I was like, what are you going to tell me? He just left to go do a showing.
Oh. So here's what I found out after we die. We have physical energies in us, and if you think about how our cells are splitting and replicating every day, and that we can measure thoughts as little electrical impulses in the brain, that energy has to go somewhere after we die. So what I found out is that it couples with our memories, personality, and the knowledge of this life, and that's what really a soul is. And every living thing has a soul, person or animal, doesn't matter. Um, then we make a choice. We choose either to stay earthbound at a fixed location of our choosing, somewhere we're either familiar with or where we died, like a hospital or a prison or an accident site or something like that, or a place where we grew up. Or we cross over and we go into the light to the other side, which is basically, heaven, Valhalla, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So ghosts are earthbound, spirits have crossed over.
Okay.
And ghosts are only limited to communicate in the place they chose. But spirits, like my grandmother, she can come to me anywhere, anytime, any place. So that's the difference. But
That's a really good way to break it down.
they both use energy too. So um, they both use physical energies like heat, light, water, electricity. Both of them use that. But spirits use love, faith, and hope, emotional energy. Ghosts use negative emotional energies like fear, anxiety, depression, and anger. Those things fuel a ghost. So when you've been on paranormal investigations, I'm sure there have been people who are anxious there, right?
Oh yeah.
So they're basically plugging in that ghost to communicate with you.
Oh yeah, you definitely can tell. Like I've had moments where I've been really upset at an investigation and you definitely can switch the energy around. Whatever we bring, I always tell people when they come with us, I'm like, I need you to clear your mind. I need you to let go of that drama you're bringing from your car. Like you cannot have that drama in here because it feeds the energy and it also affects the outcome of the evening too. Cause I feel like sometimes like if someone comes in like almost too negative, it can shut down the spirits too. They don't even want to be involved in that energy, sometimes it depends on the location, but it's all about what you bring to the table and what you're putting out there. I feel like everything is with intention.
Sure. And I will give you an example of that. In 2022, I went back to the Birdcage Theater and I took a ghost tour. And there were a lot of people on this particular ghost tour who were kind of snarky and skeptical. And the ghosts were not active that night. They were not. They were like, okay, we're not going to deal with these people who are trying to be ignorant. So they really didn't come out. Although I encountered 3 other ones that very night, but nobody else did.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really about attitude. And the other thing too, I find on paranormal investigations is that ghosts will talk to some people, but they won't talk to other people, just like living people. When we met each other at the Paracon, we were connected. We wanted to talk to each other.
Yes.
But there were people there, even people that were like in the booths next to me, that I didn't really feel compelled to talk to.
I feel the same at every Paracon. There's certain energy that you're attracted to. And I find that, like, I don't know if you feel like I'm not as sensitive as you are. I'm a little sensitive. I'm trying to grow it. I'm trying to like really like learn how to hone in on whatever is going on in my brain. But I feel like I'm always attracted to people. And then I always find out that attraction, that person is usually a sensitive person.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm attracted to this glow in people and I start talking to someone and I'm like, I need to talk to you. I don't know why, but I need to have a conversation with you. And then I start finding out that they're sensitive or they're, somewhat involved in this kind of field that we're in. And it's so weird how you can tell those things when you're sensitive,
It is. And actually, oddly enough, I was at the dentist today and I happened to mention something to my dentist because I sensed that he might be open to it. Turned out he had an experience with his grandfather when he was a kid, his grandfather who had passed. So that opened up whole new doors for me to start talking to him. But yeah, it's about sensing energy.
So now this is a question I've heard people ask. I don't believe this answer, but when it comes to like reincarnation of pets specifically, do you believe that they reincarnate in our future pets or they just kind of choose our future pets?
The latter. So what I've found out is that they, like people, will not usually reincarnate during our lifetime. Instead, they all wait for us on the other side to help guide us over and make our transition easier. But what they do is they come back in spirit and they will train a new pet or an existing pet to start doing something that they used to do.
Oh.
So that's how you know that they're around. And I will give you an example that, so after my dog Buzz passed in 2005, my puppy.
Is this the specific one in the bio? The one
Yes.
where you learned. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. He so after he passed, my roommate had a border collie who had never played with toys. But after he passed, he started picking up Buzz's favorite toy, a badger.
Hmm.
Um, and he had never touched toys in the whole year that I had known this dog. But it was after Buzz passed that he picked up that toy. Other pet parents have told me that when their newly adopted dog, after their dog passes, their newly adopted dog will have a habit or two that their other dog showed before, and they wondered if it was a reincarnation. And I assured them that no, it's not. That means that your dog is there in spirit. So sometimes you'll have two dogs, one you can't see and one you can see.
I absolutely love that. I have three pug. I'm a pug person, as you can tell by the dress. I wore my pug dress for you. These are all like little pug faces.
Oh, cool.
But I've always been a pug person. I've had four total, one passed last year, and he was the dog that I'm getting the reading for. He just meant the world to me. And we ended up getting a puppy after he passed, probably like 7 or 8 months later.
Mhm.
And we still have two pugs that are alive. And their names are Handsome and Cutie. And we have a Sexy as well. But the one that passed, his name was Gorgeous, and I always gave them pretty names because pugs are known for being ugly dogs. So we're like, we got to give them the prettiest names ever: Gorgeous, Handsome, Cutie, Sexy. But my puppy Handsome is starting to do a couple of little weird things where I'm like, I feel like my little Gorgeous has come back a little bit and put some stuff in his head, and so that makes total sense to me and
Mhm.
kind of cute, but
Yeah.
sad at the same time. You never want to lose them.
No, you don't. And really, so I explained in my Pets in the Afterlife series of books, I have four of them, that losing a pet really is like losing a child. And when I give lectures, I explain that we raise our pets the same way we raise human children. We take them to school. We teach them how to socialize. We
Yep.
teach them how to go to the bathroom. We take them to the doctor when they're sick. They know when it's dinner time. They know when it's breakfast time. They know when they have to go out. I always tell people that the only difference between a human child and a pet is that a pet will never grow up, marry someone you don't like, and move away.
Seriously, though. Seriously. Oh, they're just so unconditionally loving. And I wish pets had more than, 10 to 20 years on this earth. I wish they had a lot longer. They deserve it.
Well, I thought about that a lot too because I have four dogs in spirit, and they're all on the covers of my books, by the way.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna have to look.
Um, and I thought about that, and I thought, well, I would worry that what would happen to them if I pass away.
Oh, I worry about that all the time.
Yeah. So my husband and I put in a stipulation in our will that whatever we have in our estate would go to take care of them first.
I
And
love
then
that.
once they're gone, if there's anything left over, then they can have the few pennies after
That's
that.
hysterical. I think my son would be pissed if we left him out of the will and just made it about the dogs. But I feel like I need to put that clause in there that the dogs get taken care of.
It's important. Yeah.
It really is. And like oh, that's like the hardest conversation to have with me because I always think about that. I'm like, what if we all passed away in some freakish accident or something? Like, what would the dogs think we never came home? Like, I'm sure a lot of people who have animals think that way, though. We're probably not the only ones.
Well, so pets, that actually leads into another interesting aspect of pets, because living pets have the ability to see and hear spirits or ghosts. Um, and I've done some research as a scientist. I've done some research into the physiology of dogs and cats, and so they have a different physiology in their eyes and their ears. They can see faster movement. And as a paranormal investigator, I have learned that we use high-speed cameras to catch an image of a ghost or a spirit. So dogs and cats can see them head on. Also, they can hear at different frequencies. If you think of a dog whistle, we can't hear that frequency, but
No.
spirits wind up talking at that frequency. And and I liken that to whenever we do an investigation, we will ask a ghost, if we know there's an earthbound ghost, a question. We may not hear the answer, but if you play it back on the recorder, you can hear it.
Right. That's so interesting. Um, and I know that my dogs see spirits because I've had they like will randomly bark at random stuff all the time. But there's a specific like bark that we know is going on when they start running towards my kitchen. Our kitchen and our living room kind of like face each other. And I've been told by so many mediums that my grandmother purposely makes the dogs bark to get my attention just to like kind of wake me up and remind me of her. And she's always in the damn kitchen. And that's when the dogs start barking at the kitchen. I'm like, what is she doing here right now? You know, and I've had so many people tell me about that.
So one thing I've learned about spirits is that they, even with pets, they typically come around on special times. So birthdays, anniversaries, or holidays. And when it comes to pets, anniversaries meaning like the anniversary of their adoption or the anniversary of their passing or something like that. But those are the three times that really to look out for signs from either people or pets.
Yeah. Do you feel as if I forgot what I was going to say about that. It was a question about pets. Let me see if I have it written down. Do you feel when they visit you in dreams, like this is something that some people believe and some people don't, that is your pet visiting you in your dream, or if it's just a dream you're having?
It is a visit. So one thing I found is that ghosts cannot really come into your dreams, but spirits have the ability to come into your dreams. And when you have a dream where you feel like you're actually feeling the fur of your dog or cat, that's really more of a visit. That's a deeper dream. That's a deeper experience than just a dream. I actually just answered a question from somebody who said that they had a dream of their dog, and then suddenly the dream turned dark, and they couldn't find the dog, and they were screaming in their sleep, and they said, "What is that all about?" And so that's where our subconscious starts playing into the visit of our pet. When we have not yet been able to cope with their loss, we are still feeling the emotions of their loss, the grief and the hurt and so forth. So those bad emotions start influencing even our dreams. So they can turn a good dream into a bad dream.
Yes.
So that's so even though your pet may be visiting you in your dream, you can turn it into something else that it's not. And that's you. That's on you. That's not on the pet.
I had such a visual dream, like probably like 3 months after he passed. And it was on a night where I think I really needed to see him.
Mhm.
And I woke up the next day and I was like, I felt him, I smelt him. You know, he was there and
Wow.
he was there the whole night I was asleep. And I think he knew I needed that visit and just came to me. And I got to spend like a final night with him in a sense. And it was just it was a healing dream for me because I needed it. I really, really did. I needed that closure.
And
Because he
they know
kind of, just
they know
went.
when we need that. Yep.
Yeah. So horrible with pets. Like I mean, it's just awful. I wish I could just stay forever. Or I wish I could see them in the afterlife and then I could knew they were there all day with me, you know? You could still see them.
But well, you can't, you may not necessarily see them, but you actually have felt them around from the
Oh
afterlife.
yeah,
So
probably.
so there you go.
Do you think our pets communicate with well, I shouldn't say communicate. Do you think that our pets are with our relatives that have passed?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Um, Usually when a pet comes through with me, there's usually somebody standing with them, a human relative. And sometimes they'll give me names, and other times they'll give me descriptions. And it depends on actually depends on the person that's with them. Um, He's typically a relative that has an affinity for animals. So there was one particular reading I did where this gentleman came through after this woman's dog had passed, and he only came through wearing the same shirt over and over and over again, red and black checkered shirt. And I said, "This is weird. This guy has no wardrobe other than a red and black checkered shirt." But when I said told the woman, she said, "Oh yeah, that's my grandfather. He only wore red and black checkered shirts, and he loved dogs."
Oh, so she
So
got a special visit from two people,
yeah,
or an animal and a pet. That's so cute. Some people have actually thought this. I don't believe this to be true. I'm sure you don't either. That animals and humans can reincarnate as each other. I Do you think that's possible? Because I really don't believe that. I believe your energy stays your energy after your human energy. You're not a animal energy, and you're not gonna. I'm not gonna come back as a pug.
yeah, I totally agree with you right there. People have asked me that before, and I say to people, if you have ever experienced your office mate sitting there licking their hand like a cat, then maybe there is something.
Well, the thing to me that makes it weird is like they don't speak the language we speak. How would that interpret? Like it wouldn't make sense. I would be sitting here like licking myself and cleaning myself.
Yeah, I think that animals stay in the animal kingdom and people stay in the human kingdom.
That's hysterical. Yeah, I
You know,
believe that.
although I'm sure that you've met people that are like disagreeable. They may have been Neanderthals in the past. As far as
Seriously. I have a client that believes that if she kills cockroaches, she's going to come back as one in like a future life. Like you are what you kill. Like you kill a bug, you're coming back as a cockroach. And I'm like, I don't know if that's kind of true.
that
But
mean
whatever.
everybody would.
Yeah, I mean,
Everybody
we
would
could
be.
all be bugs. Maybe we are. Who knows? Maybe we all come back as mosquitoes and just start stinging people. So other than ghost stuff, or even with ghost stuff, what is an irrational fear that you have? I always ask this question because I like to know what people are really afraid of, even if it's irrational.
An irrational fear.
Yeah, like something that shouldn't scare you, but it does.
Gosh, I don't know. When you talk to dead people, there's not much more that can really scare you other than living people.
Spirits actually scare you?
No, well, only my grandfather actually. My very first experience happened when I was 13 years old. My grandfather died in December. In July, he appeared to me in full color when I was the only one home with our family dog, and he scared the life out of me. I, I I didn't give him any time. As soon as he came together, like 2 rooms away, I grabbed that dog and I ran outside and I stayed outside. I was petrified because I didn't know what happened.
Right.
I saw him. I saw him in the coffin in December, and then there he was standing in front of me. I'm like, so I think that that's pretty much it. And what I don't want to see, what I don't want to meet are people who were really bad in life. Because if you're nice in life, you're nice in death. If you're a jerk in life, you're a jerk in death.
Yeah,
Um,
you don't just change.
yeah, especially if they're earthbound, because when they're earthbound ghosts, I find that they really don't learn their lessons. It's not until you go to the other side that you understand that your behavior was totally wrong. Um, I did meet when I was in Scotland. I was in a cemetery, and normally cemeteries aren't haunted, as far as I've experienced, because people only haunt places that they know in life. Nobody goes to a cemetery to go have a picnic,
You know?
well, yeah, I don't know. But this one guy used to go frequent to the cemetery in the 1800s, and he died, and he decided to haunt the back part of the cemetery where there were mausoleums, and he was a jerk. I remember going back there, and I sensed a presence, and I heard him say, "Get out,"
Oh,
and
wow.
and I said, "Okay, I'm not going there."
So so one thing that broke it down for me, like, because I was always afraid ghost hunting, but I feel like the fear of the dark kind of gets you. The fear of the unknown of what's actually going to come out of the event scares you actually a lot more than the spirits do. And
True.
It was broken down to me one time and by a medium, and she's like, "Why are you afraid of the ghosts? They're just dead people. They're people like you and I. They're not here to harm you or scare you. They're just trying to tell you a story and you're freaking out and running out the front door." And I kind of took that in a different light. And I mean, I think a lot of people confuse negative energy with being like demonic and all this stuff, but it really could
Mhm.
just be a shit person that was just horrible in life and is now a horrible ghost.
Yeah, absolutely. We all maintain that personality. Um, and so, as a scientist, by the way, I have an explanation for shadow beings
Ooh, I want to hear that.
and I also have an explanation for cold spots. So, um, my my theory is because we're energy, we need energy to get strong enough to become visible. So to me, ghosts are like a light bulb that is turned all the way down on a dimmer switch. You can only see an outline, if that, or an orb.
Mhm.
Um, Once they get energy, they can take on like their outline, and it may be a shadow because they don't have enough energy to be fully visible in full color. Once they get enough energy to be visible in full color, that's when that happens.
Yeah.
So shadow figures to me are not evil or other dimensional or anything like that. It's just they don't have enough energy to be visible.
Yeah, and everyone has their own opinion on shadow people. I feel like every person in the paranormal world
I
has
know.
a different opinion. I honestly have never ever seen a shadow person. I've been ghost hunting for like 15 years and I have never seen a shadow person. I want to, but it's just never happened for me, unfortunately.
So I've seen a couple. I was in the tunnels of Edinburgh, Scotland, and there was a shadow that crossed one of the tunnels that was sealed off. In my new book that's coming out this week, Ghosts of Ireland on a Medium's Vacation, I sensed that there was a man in one of the corridors of this Cork City jail, and it was sealed off by um, a glass wall. And I looked over there and I started taking pictures, and I took 3 pictures in a row. And sure enough, in the third picture, there is the figure of a man walking across the hallway, and that's the cover of my book, actually. So the
Ooh.
shadow figure.
So that comes out this week.
It comes out Saturday.
Yeah, and this is what book number?
11.
Holy crap, that's so many books. How do you find time?
Um, well, I love to write. So, and the other thing too is that when I do paranormal investigations, I'm the guy that takes the notes. I'm the guy that sketches ghosts out. So it's easier for me to convey things. And when I go on vacation, I always take a journal and I write about all the cool places that we go. And when we went to England, I went not expecting any ghosts. I wasn't even thinking about ghosts. I was thinking about, hey, I'm in England. I was journaling all the different historic places, and everywhere we went, there was a dead person that was talking to me. And so my Ghosts of England book is packed with history and mystery and dead people and it's all
I need
kinds
to
of things.
get you up to Wilson Castle with me for an event. Have you ever been there?
No, where is it?
So it's in Vermont and it's beautiful and it has this like everybody will say this. Everybody that has spent a night in this castle, it has this weird draw to it where you don't want to leave the next day. Like you
Hmm.
almost want to stay there forever. You don't have to leave. You feel calm. You feel like it's your home. And I think part of it is possibly the fact that a lot of the spirits in this castle are um I don't the word's not descendants, but ascendants of the owner of the castle, people who have passed on from her life, her grandfather, her mother, her brother. A lot of these spirits are family to her. And then before her, I think only one family really owned the castle. So I feel like there's just this like beautiful, like you feel like you live there when you move there, when you go there to investigate. I say move there because I want to move there. I want to inherit this castle. Like it's beautiful, but I think that it would be really cool to see if you pick up on what energy you pick up on in there. Because there is stuff in certain areas of the castle where we feel things get a little darker, but we've also had people report cats and whatnot. So I think
Oh
that'd
my
be really
gosh.
cool for us to do an event there. Yeah, it's like a plethora. The castle seems almost like maybe not quite as aggressive of like the energy of like the Conjuring House or the Hinsdale House, but it feels like there's like a very big plethora of energy in this space. Definitely a portal of some sorts on the property, letting things in and out.
Oh wow, that sounds overwhelming.
In a good way though. Like I've never felt terrified in there. Like I almost always feel like I always describe it's like being on a cruise ship. Like you feel like you're gonna fall over because there's so much energy, but it never ever feels unsafe.
Okay, all right. Well, that's comforting.
But we have discovered, like, I don't know. I mean, we need to get a couple more mediums out there to really assess this, but we've started picking up on stories, and I'm going to have the owners of like the castle and stuff on in a couple weeks. But we started grabbing onto a spirit there that was a little girl that was possibly harmed on the property or near the property. Like she has no relation to the castle whatsoever.
Okay.
And the more we investigate there, the more of this story this little girl gives us. And we've gotten to the point that we actually think that this part of Vermont was like a Bermuda Triangle for missing children from like 75 to like 85. Like there's more than 30 missing children from those years. So like, and we picked up on this little girl's energy, and that's the only reason we ever did research.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
wow.
so we are slowly uncovering this, and every time we bring a new medium there, they give us more information, because I feel like to a certain extent some spirits will tell you a story but they stop,
Mhm.
and then someone else has to be the draw to pull more out of them. And this spirit specifically does not like to talk to me, but she talks to my friend Nora like every single time she goes there. But every now and then I'll pick up on her, but I get her completely different than Nora does.
Wow. Yeah, they do choose who they want to talk to. So some of them have ignored me and talked to other mediums in the team, and I'm like, well, whatever works.
Yeah, I feel like they're sometimes drawn to shared trauma too. And I
Yeah.
believe my friend Nora shared an experience that this person shared. So
So when I investigated the Maryland mansion in my case files of inspired ghost tracking book, this Maryland mansion had about 8 or 9 different ghosts. One of them was a little girl, and we learned her name, and she was 6 years old. She died of the flu in the house. Um, she's been seen before by people that were renovating the house, like a painter. Saw a little girl at the bottom of his ladder one day. He was the only one in there, and he was painting, and he freaked out. He never came back.
wow.
But every time we went in there, and we went in there often, we were there actually like 3 years. We used to do tours of this mansion and so forth, and interact with the different ghosts that were there. So she told us her whole story. She would turn the TV on for us. She would respond to things. She would make things happen. Um, and she just stayed because she loved the house. It was different. It was not a traumatic event like the one that you were talking about with the girl there. But it's tragic to me when kids stay behind.
Yes, and you know what's so weird? As child energy is the energy that I pick up on first, and I don't know why I'm so in tune with child energy. And then I had a medium one time tell me something that kind of never left me. And she had said that she could see a past life version of myself as a child that died of a bad case of scarlet fever, and
Hmm.
that trauma is still carrying behind me, and that she thinks that the spirits of children see that trauma, and because they are still traumatized from whatever happened, or ghosts of children, they're still traumatized by what happened to them in life, that they latch on to that old trauma of mine, and that's why they tend to make themselves known to me more. I shouldn't say they communicate with me, because I don't really communicate.
I don't know. I kind of see it. I kind of see it differently. That
You do?
I never look at trauma as a magnet. I look at the positive things. So when I
Oh,
first met you, you have a very positive, glowing energy about you that you just radiate out, and you give people comfort. And kids will go to somebody who they get comfort from, and that's why I think they come to you instead. I don't think
I
it
like
has
that
anything to do with
more.
trauma. Yeah.
I like that more. That makes me want to cry, though. I'm not a nice person.
Well, I think you are.
Oh, thank you. I always am told that I have this like awesome energy that just explodes all over the place. I think that's why I started calling myself paranormal vodka. Like I'm the tool you take on a paranormal investigation that's going to change the whole outcome of the evening. Like you could be on a team that's investigated the same location 25 times.
Mhm.
Add me to your group for the night and see what happens. Like the spirits don't know what the hell to do with me half the time. They sass me, they make fun of me, they call me out for wearing wigs. One time a spirit called me a man, like a man in a dress essentially, and I just love how, you know, we're so exposed to how things have been done for 20 years now by TV shows that have kind of set a standard. I want to
Yeah.
blow that standard up. I'm ready to like change the paranormal world and add some color, some fun, not take everything so seriously, you know?
I'm all for that. You know, I think that the people that I've talked to ask me if the TV shows are really how it is, and I have to tell them, you know, no, it really isn't. It's um, you don't automatically find a ghost when you walk into a place. You could be in a place all night and never get anybody.
Correct.
Um, and so yeah, it's different, and we need a different energy there, and the energy that you bring is tremendous because that's the kind of energy that ghosts are looking for to be receptive to.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like an energizer battery. Like just throw me in the location and they can all charge up and do some crazy stuff with us. We're gonna do an investigation together because I want to see how you operate and work, and we're gonna make this happen. I have a few locations coming up in the next couple of weeks that I'm gonna be adding dates for. So I'll send you
Okay,
over some dates so we can get something on the books because I would really love to do this.
that would be great. I have to confess I have a crazy 2024 lined up with events. I do animal rescue lectures too, fundraising lectures for animal rescues, where I teach people how pets communicate from the afterlife. And the animal rescues will charge something, and they take all the profits. I don't ask them for anything, so that they help dogs and cats. And
I absolutely love that.
I've been doing that. I came up with that like 5 years ago and 6 years ago, and I've been doing that, and I've raised thousands of dollars for animal rescues all over, and it's just such a rewarding experience and bringing the comfort to people. um, I do have to tell you, by the way, I was thinking of you this weekend because I read two dogs together. One of them was a pug.
Oh,
Yep. um, and her name was Wiggles.
oh, I love that.
So she came to me, and from I think from March 3rd to March 8th, that whole week, you will on my social media. The pet parents allowed me to share different parts of the reading. One of the things that Wiggles told me was the word popcorn. Wiggles was obsessed with the word popcorn, kept telling me popcorn, popcorn, and I'm like, I have no idea what that means. So I just put it in the reading, and she wrote back and she said, we would make popcorn every night. And Wiggles loved popcorn so much, she was the only one that got her own bowl.
Oh,
So it's amazing what dogs can tell you.
that is insane. I'm not going to say anything about Gorgeous because I know I can already tell you what he's going to tell you. Like, I'm just looking forward to, oh, I can't wait till September. I think it's just going to be so cool. I love
Well, I'm
that.
going to try and get it a lot earlier than that. Um, I am desperately trying to get through the readings quicker because so many people want them, immediately. But I only do them on weekends.
Okay. Yeah, you had said that. You said they were very emotional and took like a big toll on you, and because they come through like children energy, I believe you said.
Yeah, yeah. So I have to tell you, Monique, I can sit here and I will be reading a dog or a cat or a horse or whatever, and I can be sitting here as a ball of tears, and I'm just a total mess, because they're sharing their love with me, and that's why it's important for me to do them in my home by myself in the dark
Oh,
with nobody around. Um, because people have actually asked me if they could do sit down readings. And it's hard for me to hear a dog or cat when I'm trying to talk to somebody.
and plus it probably gets really emotional
It
with them
does.
too, and that can be distracting.
It is, yeah. I did do a reading for one couple at an animal rescue a couple months ago, well, back in November, for their dog Popeye, and he was amazing. He came through like a bulldog,
Oh,
um, and he kept telling me about his blue blanket and how special it was. And sure enough, he had a blue blanket, and they kept it. And this
oh,
little dog, as it turned out, I befriended this couple. My friend Ed in spirit made some things happen at their house, and they were able to identify and link to him. So it's a long story, but um,
no, I love that.
there's a lot of crazy stuff.
What's the weirdest animal someone's asked you to read?
Oh gosh,
You just do cats and dogs and horses.
well, really any animal that's domesticated that knows our habits, our language, knows anything that we do. So I've also read ferrets, rabbits,
Okay.
rats,
My son has
mice.
pet turtles.
No reptiles.
No reptiles, not yet.
Yeah, and I always tell everybody that I'm going to date myself because I always tell people that like that old Stafford song of the '70s. I don't like spiders and snakes,
Oh.
and so I won't do that.
You think you could read a spider?
I don't know. I don't want to try.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't want to try either. Like a spider, snake. I'm not really afraid of them, but if something's crawling on me, I'm not going to sit there and live with it.
I will
Like
tell you that
crawling.
one of the most interesting pieces of advice I ever got was from a rabbit named Wudge, 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 and he said, "Love is something you should never apologize for."
Oh, that's really nice.
Isn't
And
that
this came
amazing?
from a rabbit.
Came from a rabbit.
I love that. I That's such a beautiful message. And it
Yeah,
came from an animal. Come on, people, get on board with that.
I think
This
we have a
shows
lot of people that need to catch up.
seriously, a lot of people need to learn, maybe they need an animal so they can actually learn what love is. It's, this whole world is attacking each other right now. And I feel like there's so much life that people miss out on because they spend so much time being pissed off at things,
Yeah, I agree.
you
Um,
know?
and the one thing that we learn from our pets is that it's unconditional love, and I don't think humans are capable of that on
Yeah.
our own. So when we have to make that decision to help our pet out of pain, we that's when we put that lesson in action of unconditional love. That means that we have to be unselfish enough to let them go,
Mm.
to let them pass out of pain. And it's really it's hurtful, of course. um, the other thing too that I've learned from talking to pets in spirit is that they always say thank you. They're
Mm.
always appreciative of when we recognize that they need to go.
Yeah.
um, and uh, and they don't want us to feel guilty. You'd be surprised how many people write to me and tell me that they feel so guilty that they made the choice for their pet. Well, their pet doesn't want them to feel guilty. Instead, they want them to feel appreciation from their pet for learning the lesson of unconditional love.
Yeah. That resounds a lot. That's really, it's probably so true too. Cause, even when we had to make that decision twice last year.
Mm.
And, it was the hardest decision, but after it was over, I feel relieved for him. I feel like he's not stumbling around. He can't not walk. He was just falling everywhere. He didn't have a good quality of life. And though he may enjoyed sleeping all day and, and whatnot, he just had no quality. And it was almost like he had a stroke. He just wasn't there in the last couple of days. And he disappeared. He was already leaving. And I was just like, it's time for you to just go, I guess. You want to go, it's time. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with that decision, but it's so hard. And I'm lucky I had 3 dogs at almost all times in my life right now, that I have 2 others to unconditionally spoil me with love after we have to put one down.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, and they also feel the same kind of grief that we do. Um, some people have said to me, "Well, pets probably don't even notice that their loved one is gone," and that's not true. They absolutely go through stages of grief. Like my roommate's dog started picking up my dog Buzz's toys. Um, some of your other pets will start being withdrawn. They they may not engage for a while. They may not feel like eating as much. They may not want to go out and play. Um, they're grieving just like we are, and they need more attention after
Yes.
after their sibling passes.
That's so sad.
I
Now
know.
to know that the pets are grieving with us. My pets didn't really seem to notice when the other two dogs had gone, but I think that they kind of immediately both stepped up and took over their spots to make sure that we had the love that we needed. Because I feel like they can sense when you're sad, and they know that you need it.
Yeah, that's a very astute observation. So they do that too. They, even though they're grieving, they know that we need their attention more because our grief is just crippling in some
Yeah.
cases. Um, and honestly, Monique, I have received emails from people who have been suicidal after their
Mhm.
passing of their pet. And there was one gentleman I wound up calling. It was last summer, 2 summers ago, who told me he was going to take his own life.
Oh,
And
wow.
I actually gave him my phone number, and I had to call him, and I had to talk him down, and I had to do a reading immediately with his dog that passed over. And I convinced him to go get help at a nearby fire station, police station, and he finally did. He called me back. He said that he was on the way and that he was going to turn around, and he saw a woman walking a dog that looked exactly like his dog who passed away. He had never seen her before in the neighborhood, and that gave him the strength to go on. He got help at a police station, and he worked through it. He recovered, but that was really scary for me because Um, if people are feeling depression and grief when their pet passes, talk to somebody.
Yes. Because yeah, that's just not another decision you want to make, and I don't really truly feel that anybody wants anybody to take their own lives, whether it be a pet or a relative that's passed on. I don't believe that they want you to do that to yourself. So, really getting help is important. And I feel like at this point in life, almost everybody's in therapy anyway. We've gotten to that point. Like in the 80s, like therapy was something that nobody went to, but I feel like everybody is a therapist now.
I think you're right. We all have things that we have to deal with. Everybody has issues, and
Yep.
and we have to be courageous enough to reach out and know that the spirits of our loved ones, whether pets or people, want us to live a full life and want us to honor them and keep their memory alive as long as
Yep.
we are alive.
Yes, I
I think
totally
that's a
agree.
good message.
So before we get off, because we're getting close to the time now, I just want you to be able to like plug all your stuff, tell us where they can get your books, tell everyone what your website is, all the good details so people can follow up with you.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. So my website is robgutro.com. Or if you don't remember how to spell my name, type in petspirits.com. It goes to the same place. Um, it's a massacred French Canadian name. So, and I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok now, and YouTube. Um, I don't know. I'm all over like an epidemic, Monique. So
Me too. And if you search my name, you'll get more than you bargained for. Hmm. All right. Well, thank you.
yeah, thank you.
It was,
And people can go to Amazon, by the way. That's where my books are, and
awesome.
they're ebook and paperback. I haven't done audiobooks yet.
Then you need to
Um,
get on that so that I can listen to your books.
okay, I'll do that for you.
And I think you have a great voice for an ebook too. So you're going to read them yourself, or you're going to have someone else do that?
I would probably read them myself because I'm retiring
There you go.
in 7 months and 29 days.
Wow, you're not counting down or anything.
No,
Oh my God. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for coming on. After we get my reading done, I want to have you on again because I think that'd be super cool. And I'm not shy about sharing my results with the world. So I think that would be like something really beautiful and maybe help do
I
some
would love that.
advertising too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to see you again. And everyone check out robgutro.com and buy this man's books. They're amazing. And I cannot wait to chat again.
Me too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Monique.
Absolutely. And that's our show for tonight. Thank you guys for watching Ghosts and Glitter, and I'm going to leave you with a theme song.
It's time to meet Monique. There's no one quite like she. All ghost hunting drag queen. She'll tell you all you need. Cause strikes the highest form of energy there is. So come on, boys and girls, join our paranormal world. Ghosts and glitter. You're the ghostess with the mostest. Ghosts and glitter. Monique too soon, hope you don't scare too soon. Ghosts and glitter. Ghosts and glitter. You're the ghostess with the mostest. Ghosts and glitter.
Thank you for listening to Ghost and Glitter. My name is Amy Champion, and please follow my papa, Monique Too Soon, on all social media. And be sure to leave a great review.